Hi, all you laddies, lasses, and beans, and welcome to the director's commentary for The Fortune of Monument Mountain. Well, first of all, I was really excited and quite starstruck to get Lilac Lorenza to voice this part, because she had made a community post asking to be, featured in random people's, stuff. You can probably see it in her history around July 2025. So, fun fact, I came up with this movie after listening to Alice and You Lo-Fi Remix. I forget who made it, but I put it in the description of the good ending. Literally, I was just listening to that one morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. And that alone was like, I need to use this in a movie. And so that's when I came up with the idea for the movie. It was like July 2025, shortly after, I think this wasn't that long after I finished the Revenge of the Vampire Hunter. The whole idea behind this movie was, it was kind of meant to subtly be, well, not entirely subtle, but to be a reach out towards people who are in despair, and, tell them that survival is resistance. And this was kind of my way of doing that. I'm like, I want to make a movie about donating money to charity. And you could do a lot of stuff with that. You could do a lot of stuff with that idea. It's not a very revolutionary idea, but I think I did well. This stupid scene I came up with on the bus. I was on the bus in Japan, and I was like, hey, Lily, check this out. And she really liked it, so I'm like, I'm gonna use it. And I was about to start watching ReZero at Lily's suggestion, so... So I decided to make a reference. I was also going to make a Fullmetal Alchemist reference, since that's my favorite anime that I want her to watch. And she did start, just like how I started watching ReZero. Don't know what that was. The door just closed on its own. But, that scene didn't really fit. You can see it in the bloopers. I freaking love this scene. But anyway, back to, the main theme of this movie. I wanted to... I'm kind of really obsessed with the idea of, someone being able to read someone's heart, to see the inside of them beyond deception. It's a thing I do in a lot of my works, whether it be books or movies. So that was where the whole honest heart, dishonest heart idea came from. I made a lot of really silly references with this character. Steamed Hams is a reference to The Simpsons, obviously. Well, if you didn't know, it's a reference to The Simpsons. Haru Tunnel is a reference to Haru from A Year of Springs. This was actually meant to be filmed in an actual cave, but it was really expensive to get into the cave, so we're like, nah, there's no point. So I just filmed it upstairs. There was actually meant to be Xavier Renegade Angel in this part. He was meant to say, "You slumber, a cucumber," and that's when you see this. Dang, you seen this? But I was really afraid of getting copyright claims, so I just kind of took that out of the movie. Last minute. The Viking helmet was originally supposed to be, for Barry the Chopper, which was in that, cut scene, and this, again, was supposed to be in a cave, and I would talk to the ceiling like a disembodied voice. But since it's no longer in a cave, I'm like, I might as well just dress up as this character, whoever the frick this character is, and make it some, references. That's an explanation as to why I changed my outfit, which is few and far between. Normally I don't explain why I change my outfit in between scenes, because it's a lot of work. And, oh god, now we get into the filming part. So, luckily it wasn't as bad with the flies as it was at, Harper's Ferry. But, gosh, we went on Labor Day. So there were so many people there. It was, so nice out. And, it's Labor Day. It's a perfect day to film. But so many people were there. I remember telling this guy who was sitting on that exact steps, I'm like, hey, I'm filming a movie here. And he's like, oh, cool. And he just sat there for like 30 minutes. I don't know, it was probably like 10 or 20 minutes, but it felt like 30 minutes. Also, these lines from Edward were like improvised. Like, they were not meant to be like, they're not meant to say anything about society. They're just for like, they're just meant to make you they're just meant to be stupid funny stuff. But gosh, it was crowded. Like, we had to wait up to 30 minutes at a time sometimes without filming. I'm pretty sure there was one time we literally went with like 30 minutes in between scenes just waiting for people to leave. So that's why we ended up just filming on the other side of this monument rather than filming right here. So yeah, that's why we did that. And she has the clap that can teleport people, just like Gandalf has, because she was actually the daughter of someone who used to be part of the, was it Seattle Wizards Association or Vancouver Island Wizards Association? I didn't really have a plan for this fight. I'm like, yeah, duke it out. And so it's really awkward, but I like it. Gosh, I took Max here a lot over the course of his life. So it's interesting to see how he gets bigger each time we take him. And I wasn't planning for Max to be a part of the plot, but I'm like, Edward, if your character is so unfeeling towards Etain, that name means jealousy, by the way, then why would Edward, like, be the one to suggest a truce? So he's like, the dog. Well, it'll be about the dog, like, or something. Also, I feel like the dog would be more concerned if, like, he's like, the dog shouldn't be seeing this, but the dog seems perfectly fine with everything going on, because he knows we're playing, and, dogs can't really act unless you train them to do so. Max wasn't even supposed to be here. We were going to tie him to a bench, but one, I felt really bad doing that, and two, he would bark the whole time, so I'm like, screw it, you just have the dog for the sympathy vote. We once again have two choices. I thought the choices would be harder for people to make, but everyone I've shown the movie says split the money. The whole thing with Jolene's insanely long rant was meant to be a reference to Mr. Hippo, and it was one of the earliest things we did in the movie was that stupid... It was all improvised. The whole rant was improvised.
Look, it's right
on the
here,
bad
just as I
ending.
said.
And you can even see in the bloopers just how improvised it was.
Well,
We
I
were
wanna do
just
it for
trying
a
to
dog
see how
thing.
long we could go without laughing.
Try to kill you.
And yeah, I didn't really bring any props. I was planning on just filming
I don't want to
from
let petty
inside the
disagreements like
monument.
this get in the way of my true cause.
And we'd
Listen,
act like
you
we'd
get
be
1
seeing it
million, I get
inside, but
1
we couldn't
million.
get access to the inside of the monument, so we just went from the side, like
The
you see
invisible
here.
million.
The invisible million.
Use this money for something good, not just on yourself.
Pretty much almost all of Edward's lines were improvised. Which is amazing. Mainly his first couple lines weren't improvised,
Whether you're hiding away from this cruel
but
world,
his one and
simply trying to
the
exist
one where
in
he
it,
suggests a
or fighting to
truce
change it.
is
This is for you.
not
Remember,
improvised, though it is
survival is
mostly
resistance.
improvised. Survival is resistance. I really like that, and I use the Metal Gear Solid 2 music since I feel like that game is a trans allegory. It also just affected me a lot. You see that? That's Nimona Cruz. If you read that in time, Nimona Cruz is Cynthia Cruz's alter. Because I didn't want to misrepresent plural people. So I'm like, because that wasn't the intention at all. So I'm like, screw it. I'll just make Cynthia actually plural. So Nimona is like this child alter that represents her inner childhood, the one that she wants to fill in after, since she didn't grow up, Lily Ever Botanical didn't grow up as a girl, so Nimona represents the childhood she never had as a girl. Since Seymour Sycamore is gone, her childhood's missing, I was gonna post a short little, story about that, like I do sometimes. I was also planning on one about Aubrey Sybil and the Battle of Trafalgar, but I don't have enough written of those yet, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. Normally we walk away from the camera when that says that. Also, this part was filmed on Long Neck, Delaware.
An honest heart, huh?
You know, people throw shade at Delaware. It's surprisingly
So what did you
nice.
do with your share
Went
of the
there
money?
just this summer.
Well,
Survival is resistance. I don't have much more to say. That last part is kind of meant to be Miss Morals is the name of the character, being proud of you. Don't have much else to say, honestly, but I hope that you took away a hopeful message from the movie, because that's what you were meant to take away from it. Bye, everyone.